The next one I want to get into here, Matt Stafford. The Rams roll this recovery device thing up to the facility. Yesterday, we're recording this on Tuesday morning, and it promises all sorts of red light therapy and calming therapy and everything that's going to help this back. You and I both had wives that just had kids. When you hear the word epidural, it seems kind of intense, right? Like, there's a conversation about that. You see the size of that needle that they bring into the hospital room. So the official line right now is Matt Stafford's fine and he's going to be okay for week 1. Are you calling BS on that?
Absolutely calling BS on that because what is what Sean McVay, Matthew Stafford, and the LA Rams are going to do? Like go full Will Ferrell panic, everybody panic, just
Everybody
and
freak
all
out.
freak out. Like they're not going to do that. They have to say that everything is fine. But you read between the lines enough in pro football, and you can kind of see some concern from time to time. It does seem like the messaging has changed a little bit. It went from yeah, he's right on track for week 1 to gonna take it day to day. And does gonna take it day to day become gonna take it week to week? He's an older quarterback. I was like you, Conor. I heard the word epidural, and I immediately am thinking of Oshai Children's Hospital with my wife and the kids. And holy shit, that was not fun for all parties involved. And yeah, I would imagine there's some real concern internally with the Rams. He's old. Right? He's getting up there in age. He's really freaking good. He's one of the best quarterbacks in football, but this stuff's inevitable. Of course, I say this, and then he'll just go out and throw for 400 yards and 3 touchdowns week 1, and we'll all look like fools.
I wonder if it's one of those things where it's like a bad back, right? Where it's going to be fine sometimes. I mean, you and I are in our late 30s. I get it. Like there are days when I sneeze and then I can't move. And then there are days when I feel like I could run a triathlon. You know what I mean? And so I'm guessing that maybe that's going to be the vibe for Stafford. But what I noticed too along those lines, speaking of like changing of messaging, it's just like, now all of a sudden it's like, wow, we love Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, Jimmy's our guy, and we wanted to keep Jimmy here. And then there was, oh, did you see how good Stetson Bennett looked in the preseason? Stetson Bennett was slinging it, and we love Stetson Bennett. So when you start, I think, praising the backups, talking about the backups, that's when you get yourself into a real hot water mess, because that's when I feel like we're getting to the point where, okay, this guy's going to miss some games.
Yeah, I think we might be heading that direction. And maybe by the time people are listening to this, there's a little more clarity. We kind of know where this mystery injury with all of these different tools and mechanisms and hyperbaric this and that, where it's going. But I just feel like it's not going a healthy direction. You know where my mind went, Conor, is back in February when the New York Giants and some of these teams were flirting with the idea of throwing the kitchen sink at Matthew Stafford. Can you imagine if one of these teams ended up getting Stafford and all this stuff came out right now in New York? Oh my God, it'd be brutal for
Oh
those
my
fan
God.
bases.
Yeah, you go all in on the guy, and then all of a sudden he wakes up and, I slipped a disc, and all of a sudden, like, the Rams have Aaron Rodgers, and everyone's like, what's happening here? I do think about Aaron, though. It is interesting, right, that Rodgers, that was one of his preferred destinations. I think Sean McVay probably wanted him, too, if they got rid of Matt Stafford. God, how different the NFL would be. And I wonder how different we would be thinking of Rodgers' prospects this year if he ended up with the LA Rams instead of Pittsburgh. I mean, I do everything every year where I predict all 272 games because it's the only way, Tyler, to predict the season. You have to predict every game. And I
Mm-hmm.
still have the Steelers at 9-8. Spoiler alert. It doesn't matter if Aaron Rodgers is there or not. I mean, I think this is a 9-8 football team. But would you have taken the Rams a little bit more seriously, or less seriously if you had Aaron Rodgers under center? And do you think that McVay is someone that Rodgers would not kowtow to, but to I don't know, to take his expertise as he so few times does with other NFL head coaches?
I think that would be a one-way track to those two individuals clashing in spectacular fashion. I don't know. I'm reading Michael Silver's book right now on the why is everything and the McVay and Shanahan and LaFleur and McDaniel and how their minds work. And I don't think that would go a healthy direction if Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback. And also he's let's see what he can even do physically. And speaking of old quarterbacks, he can't move like he once moved. I mean, I can't get the images out of my mind of how he looked here in Orchard Park, New York, late last season. I mean, he looked kind of disinterested and slow and just
Mhm.
chilling on the sideline, laughing about his personal foul penalty, not really engaged. I mean, I imagine he'll be engaged early on with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Him and Mike Tomlin are probably in a dark room somewhere talking about sticking it to all the haters. And they've got every reason to have the season of their lives. Right? Tomlin is the coach. You can't win a playoff game and is forever 9-8, 8-9. I'm sorry, 9-8 for no losing seasons. And Aaron Rodgers hasn't really been good in 3 years with an Achilles
Right.
injury thrown in there. But I don't know. I think Father Time is undefeated this side of Tom Brady. And even in so many words, Aaron Rodgers has admitted that. So, yeah, if he was with the LA Rams, even with Puka Nacua, even with Sean McVay, Devontae Adams, even with we just saw it with Devontae Adams. Like, he forced the Jets to make a move for him. Guy Robert Saleh fired. He kind of got everything he wanted, and it still was disaster. I don't
Right.
know. I think that the Rams would be kind of talking themselves into Santa Claus at that point.
I want to get to Rodgers in a second, but so to put a bow on this, week 1 is September 7th for the Rams at 1:25 Pacific. They're going to play the Houston Texans. If you're Sean McVay, do you feel responsible putting Matt Stafford against a Texans defense that is lean, nasty? We've seen what they're capable of when they can get after a quarterback. Do you put Matt Stafford out there? Like, if you had to make the decision now, if you had to hand in your note card and say, here's my opening day lineup and it's set in stone, do you put Matt Stafford on that note card?
I'd say no. I think that would be
Right.
kind of the conservative long play for a coach and a team that's thinking Super Bowl. Look, they gave the Eagles a hell of a game in the snow. Maybe they're the team that was best equipped to beat the juggernaut Philadelphia Eagles last year. So that's how they're thinking right now. Super Bowl or bust. You're thinking that way, and there's any concern, and they're looking at scans and stuff that we're not privy to. Why would you put him out there against Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter and that Texans defense? That Texans defense is really, really good, and they get after the quarterback. But I say all that to say, like, you're breaking down the Texans. And remember last year, Josh Allen got knocked around and suffered an obvious brain injury, concussion. I forget how it was worded, how it was publicized at that time. He was out of it. And yet he played the very next week against the Jets. I remember talking to Chris Nowinski that week. He's out there at Boston University at the forefront of all things concussions and NFL players and quarterbacks and why it's so important to just take a week or 2 or 3 off before you return. We saw it with Tua. The stories are just so grim. I mean, ask Kevin Cobb what it's like to suffer 3-4 concussions. It gets worse and worse and worse and worse. But he was out there. He played. He was fine. They won the game, and he never looked back. So pro football is a hell of a drug. McVay and Stafford might sit there, look at each other and say, we got to beat this team. We got to win this game. If you feel good to go, get out there.